Chris mentioned earlier, a lot of the changes that you would have seen over the last couple of years, whether it was the events or our products, the services that we provide, a lot of it is very heavily directed by feedback, and in particular feedback from the ACS seminars that we get every year. And last year when asking sort of what information were you wanting to hear, who were you wanting to hear from, it was very overwhelming in terms of the number of people that said they wanted to know about market trends, employment trends, what are employers looking for, what are the skills, where are the jobs, where are they declining, where are they growing. And so we sort of thought, well, we can't really be the expert in every single sector. So what we can probably do is position ourselves as sort of the expert in the overall broad market and give you a little bit of an overview of what's happening in the job market. So this is my job today. So as you can see, and I think everybody probably knows this by now, is healthcare and social assistance is rapidly growing at a very high rate. And is about 25% of the predicted future jobs that are going to be created, followed by professional science and technology services, construction and education and training. What's been really interesting is that the search numbers on our own website have sort of reflected this trend. So we're sort of seeing that the students, the job seekers that are on our website searching careers are actually probably quite aware of the job trends that are happening at the moment, and therefore what they're looking for in terms of courses, in terms of jobs, is actually reflecting the future growth markets, such as health and science. The only thing that has dropped a little bit is education, and we'd probably like to see a few more job searches, course searches for education on our website. And that's something that we'll take into account and say, we need to do a little bit more promotion when it comes to education careers. On the Good Universities Guide website, these are our top 5 fields of study in terms of what people are searching for on our website. So again, you'll see health, business and management is very steady on our website, it's quite common. Engineering, nursing, and then education and training. If we look at the bottom 5 of the search courses on our website, it's architecture, pharmacy, economics, mathematics, and surveying. So quite interesting given the growth in construction, looking at architectural roles, as well as mathematics. Obviously, we can scream as loud as we want that everyone needs maths skills, everyone should be studying maths. What we probably need to get through is that it's not necessarily about doing a maths degree, but that people should be incorporating maths into their education and training. So again, it's something that we'll take on and make sure that we're doing a lot more promotion around that. So if we look at the healthcare sector, healthcare and social assistant continues to be Australia's primary provider of new jobs, and a position that it's held since the 1990s. In 2010, it overtook retail as the biggest employer and continues to create a variety of roles within the sector. When it comes to search trends, again, on the Good Universities Guide website, it shows that students, again, are very aware that healthcare is a big employer. And they are quite aware of this is where the future growth is going to be, which is good to see. Out of the 31 fields of study on the website, healthcare commands about 13% of the search results. So again, everyone is quite aware of health being a really lucrative career opportunity. And so I think that also has a lot to do with the career guidance as well, and making sure that we are telling these sort of young people coming through about these sort of job opportunities that come into health. And it doesn't have to just be nursing, it doesn't have to be about being a doctor. There's sort of technology jobs, scientific jobs, there's retail jobs, all sorts of things like that. So if we look at some of the courses, that are popular on the site, there's Bachelor of Health Science, Bachelor of Nursing, Bachelor of Physiotherapy, Bachelor of Medical Science, Dental. So what we're probably seeing is a lot of people searching for bachelor degrees and master's degrees, opposed to people looking for vocational courses. Another thing we're seeing is a lot more search results in double degrees as well. So people looking for that fundamental science foundation course or a mathematics course, and then combining that with something that they would like to actually do. And we're also seeing a lot more science-based qualifications as well. So that's also good to know that a lot of people are actually being quite smart and getting that sort of fundamental science degree, and then going on to study further. Obviously, when it comes to the healthcare boom, the key drivers is the ageing population. So by 2022, there'll be 4 million Australians between the age of 65 and 84. Population growth predicted by 2022 is going to be approaching about 27 million. So this obviously then creates a lot of new jobs for the market. At the moment, there's, if we look at sort of emerging markets that are happening in health, we look at advanced human technologies. At the moment we're looking at sort of plastic surgery, orthodontics, prosthetics, pacemakers, dietary supplements. In the future, it will be around things like exoskeletons, which is wearable mobile machines that are powered and connected in order to advance the strengths and conditioning of the human body. So this could be restoring motor control of lost and damaged limbs, helping nurses lift and carry patients, used as rehab training aid for stroke and spinal cord injury patients. So that's kind of where the market is, the job market is going. Another thing you'll also hear about in the afternoon with Matt coming to present from Telstra is the rise in the Internet of Things. And the definition of that is a network of connected devices that communicate and exchange with data. So this is things like computer-based systems, from wearable fitness trackers that then connect to your computer, home heating, lighting and security. We see those ads about sort of Google Home where you can get on your phone and the heater's nice and warm when you arrive. However, in the future, this will be used for things like connecting clinics and medical devices together, remote monitoring of patients, both inpatients and outpatients, allowing for patients to be more closely tracked without the need of actually having to continue coming back to their doctor, which will be really great for rural areas, and help to ensure that patient records are kept up to date if they do move from doctor to doctor or different specialists. And then, of course, we've got the AV and the AR market as well. AI is being used for everything from helping doctors analyse patient data and recommended treatments, robosurgery, training medical students before they even go into surgery. They're already practicing with virtual reality tools, and also used in rehabilitation as well. And if you do follow the ACS seminars across the 8 events, we've got various guest speakers that will be speaking on the health sector, and a lot of them are working in emerging markets, so working with AV, AI, pharmaceutical apps, things like that. So some really good presentations to check out on the website over the course of the 8 events. Now, the construction industry obviously is also going to be influenced by the population boom. Investment in infrastructure has taken over mining as the key driver of engineering jobs. Rail, for instance, in Victoria has received 1.7 billion upgrades for stations, removal of level crossings and track improvements. And trades in general will also continue to be of high demand as experience shortages due to population growth. So if we have a look at some of the, courses that are searched on the Good Universities Guide website, and again, don't let the name confuse you. The website covers vocational all the way through to higher ed, postgrad and MBA. We will still see that a lot of the vocational courses that are being searched are pathways into professional degrees. So what we do really need to see, again, is those young people looking for those vocational entry-level positions, looking at apprenticeships. And again, another thing where our website is sort of predicting where the market is going, where that supply is going to come from, and we still do need to encourage a lot more young people to be undertaking vocational courses. Of the top 5 careers that are being searched on the website, again, we'll look at architecture, surveying, draftsperson, builder and carpenter. Again, really good steady, it's all well and good to have a good steady stream into, coming from a trade through professional careers, but we still do need that new supply coming through that are going to be taking over those jobs as more people progress through their career. Retail, again, another growing industry trend at the moment due to population growth. It's predicted to drive through things like the domains of supermarkets and grocery stores. While department stores are actually decreasing due to stagnant wages and inflation, we are seeing the online shopping market grow, as we probably all know. Myer's lost $1 billion in sales, while Amazon is actually growing in the Australian market. The new roles that we'll see within retail will be around customer experience roles. So responsible for managing, so responsible for managing the customer journey, especially when a lot of shopping now is online, and using different platforms and communicating via a range of channels. So getting those automated emails, getting that little pop-up text box in the middle of the screen. There'll be many touch points when interacting with customers from start to purchase, and a lot of follow-up as well. There'll be big data analysis that will be very much needed, as more online and tech-advanced shopping means a lot more data on customer journey for better tracking and then predicting customer habits. Online shopping and multi-channel retail will create need for IT professionals, software developers and very internet-savvy employees who can organise and refocus retailer marketing, sales strategy, social media and other digital channels as well. We're also seeing a rise in what we're calling ethical hackers. So cybersecurity is obviously going to be a big one when it comes to retail. There's a big focus when it comes to preventative measures and also conducting investigations with a breach. So we're seeing things like these ethical hackers where security professionals are hiring people with hacking skills to find and exploit vulnerabilities and weaknesses within security systems, and then making recommendations for improvements. There's also really great community programs out there where they're taking sort of former malicious hackers and putting their skills to good use and getting them on the straight and narrow. So again, I think someone mentioned before about stealing cars and using those skills, turning those skills into what are those skills then used for like jobs and things like that. So there are some great pathway programs out there which are turning sort of youth at risk and using those sort of skills to put on the resume and put to good use. And then obviously education. It's a steady field, it isn't booming, but it is consistently growing. Teachers are going to remain in steady demand, fueled by the ever-increasing enrolments and the need for bigger, much bigger schools. Teaching requires soft skills and human touch, so it's never going to be in trouble of automation. The new STEAM model, so science, technology, engineering, arts and maths, is going to recognise people with soft skills in addition to technical knowledge. And education is a field where compassion, communication, adaptability, teamwork is all required. And I guess you could probably also say this for the healthcare sector as well. You could certainly say it for the retail sector and customer service, and certainly some jobs within construction as well. So, it's all still relevant. We can be a little bit afraid of automation, but, our research shows that more jobs are being created than are in decline. And it's just about being adaptable. So, it's not so much about a robot's going to take our job. We just need to have those adaptability and those transferable skills to be able to work side by side with technology as it comes about. So, what are we going to go from here? And I think the biggest debate has to be the higher ed versus vocational study. We do see that there is a lot of skill shortages, and there is a lot of need for more apprenticeships and vocational courses as enrolments are dropping. So we are seeing a lot of skill shortages where a vocational course or an apprenticeship is required. And we need to make sure that we aren't just all encouraging people to go into higher ed, which we do see sometimes. Also educating students about vocational options as well. It doesn't necessarily have to be coming from any particular influence. They might just perceive as, I finish year 12 and I go straight to university. And also having the knowledge that maybe a degree isn't necessarily necessary for the career that they're after. And knowing those training pathways, and that's where Good Education Group also comes into play in using our resources to talk about sort of the skill requirements, but also the training requirements for those dream careers. Also looking at things like enrolment numbers, so vet enrolment numbers are down versus higher education numbers. Vet funding is a little bit confusing, whereas higher ed funding is going up. And the same with student loans as well. It can be very difficult with students' loan for vocational, and it's not always applicable. Whereas, higher ed university loans, it's pretty clear and simple. And then also having people overqualified as well. Again, it comes back to do they really need that higher education degree? And I think some of you might have seen Vicky Thompson's article in which she talks about the need for vocational education, and I think it's really impactful coming from someone from a G8 group of 8 university, in which she says too many students feel pressured by family, school, peers and society in general not to follow their hearts and skill set. There's too much pressure on students that they must attend a university. While under the demand-driven system, undergraduate enrolment numbers have grown substantially, important sub-degree programs in vocational and higher education have diminished. In 2016, there was 242,000 more people in higher education than in 2008. Participating levels have been maintained, with 132,000 fewer additional enrolments in vet. TAFE must be returned to a position of value, seen as a respected and much-needed partner in post-secondary education, not treated as a lesser education stream. So Good Education will certainly be doing our part to be promoting vocational education and also promoting those skill shortages and those really rewarding trade and vocational careers. And also the fact that they are pathways, it is okay to have that longevity and that career pathway of moving through to a more professional industry, but talking about those pathways and that there needs to be an entry level in that. So that's a little bit from us in terms of just the overall job market. You're very lucky today to be speaking to so many wonderful industry spokespeople who can talk a little bit more about their own careers and industry trends that are happening in their sector. So we'll commence to the next workshop, but thanks very much for listening.